Every morning presents us with a divine opportunity, a clean slate to reset our minds, align our purpose, and release control over the things we cannot change. True power is found not in striving, but in surrendering. When we let go, we open ourselves to the supernatural flow of wisdom, peace, and favor. Every morning, when your eyes open, you are gifted with something priceless: another chance. Another chance to align, to release, to begin again. But the real question is this: what are you holding on to that you should have let go of yesterday? So many people wake up already burdened, weighted down by yesterday's failures, last week's disappointments, or the fear of what might go wrong today. But here's the truth: you can't rise when you're holding on to things that were never meant to be carried into today. The most powerful decision you can make each morning is to surrender, not in weakness, but in wisdom. To say, I choose peace over pressure, I choose trust over tension, I choose purpose over panic. That kind of surrender isn't giving up, it's growing up. You see, control is an illusion. The more we try to hold it all together, the more things seem to fall apart. But when you surrender your need to control your plans, your timeline, your expectations, you begin to access a kind of strength that doesn't come from striving, it comes from stillness. Every morning is a reset, not just for your schedule, but for your soul. When you wake up, before you pick up your phone, before you scroll, before you step into the noise of the world, take a moment, breathe, reflect, and whisper to yourself, I let go today, and I trust what's ahead. That one act of intentional surrender can shape the outcome of your entire day. It clears your mind, centers your spirit, and frees you to focus not on what might happen, but on what you're meant to do. There's something powerful about letting go, something freeing about saying, this is not mine to carry anymore. Because when you let go, you make room. You make room for clarity, room for peace, room for the real assignment that's calling your name today. The truth is, we don't need more time, we need more trust. And trust starts with surrender. Every single morning. So today, choose surrender, not just as a reaction to pressure, but as a lifestyle. Not just when things go wrong, but before anything begins. Because when you let go at the start of your day, you're not losing control, you're gaining alignment. And that alignment, that's where your power begins. But here's the thing: once you've surrendered, once you've aligned, how do you keep your mind steady when distractions scream louder than your purpose? That's where clarity through release comes in. Are you ready for that? Why, despite all your planning, your day still feels like a struggle? It's because clarity doesn't come from doing more, it comes from releasing more. We live in a world that tells us we must control everything: our time, our outcomes, even the people around us. But what if the clarity you're searching for is hiding behind the very things you're trying to manage? Clarity is not about knowing everything. It's about letting go of the things that don't belong. It's about stepping back, looking at your life, and asking, what am I holding on to that's blocking my vision? So many of us wake up and immediately grab onto our responsibilities, our worries, our goals, our guilt. And before the sun even fully rises, we're already drained. But when you learn to release, to say, this isn't mine to fix, or this doesn't serve where I'm going, that's when your mind begins to clear. That's when your day starts to shift. Think about it. Have you ever tried to look through a foggy window? No matter how hard you squint, you still can't see clearly. But the moment you wipe it clean, everything comes into focus. Your mind is the same way, and release is the cloth that clears the fog. Let go of needing to be perfect. Let go of comparing yourself. Let go of chasing approval. These things don't clarify your path, they cloud it. You weren't designed to carry everything. You were meant to carry what matters. And what matters? Your purpose, your peace, your assignment for this day. But those things can only rise to the surface when you release the clutter, when you quiet the noise, when you give yourself permission to stop fixing what's not yours to fix. So how do you do it? You pause, you reflect, you ask, what can I release today to make room for what really matters? You speak it out loud if you have to. You write it down, but most of all, you mean it. Because when you let it go mentally, you begin to feel it physically. The weight lifts, the fog clears, and suddenly direction comes into view. You see, clarity doesn't come when life gets easier. It comes when your mind gets light, and that lightness is a result of intentional release every single morning. So tomorrow, when you rise, don't rush to control. Start by clearing the clutter. Start by asking yourself, what's clouding my vision? And as you begin to release, you'll be surprised. Direction shows up, peace returns, and your next steps become undeniable. But once the fog lifts, once clarity begins to shape your day, how do you position your thoughts, your energy, and your purpose to move forward with intention? That's where morning alignment steps in. Every new day begins with a silent invitation, an invitation to align, to bring your thoughts, your focus, your energy into agreement with your assignment. But most people never answer that call. Why? Because they start the day in reaction instead of intention. You were never designed to live by default. You were designed to live by design. And that design starts in your mind. Before your feet hit the floor, your thoughts are already shaping your direction. The question is, are you allowing your mind to wander, or are you commanding it to align? Alignment is not about control, it's about connection. When your thoughts connect with your purpose, everything flows. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop chasing things that don't belong, and you start moving in rhythm with your calling. But alignment doesn't happen by accident. It takes practice. It takes stillness. It takes waking up and asking yourself, what am I focusing on today? Because whatever gets your attention, gets your energy. Are you focused on fear? Then fear will lead. Are you focused on problems? Then problems will multiply. But if you focus on purpose, on what you were designed to do today, then that focus will guide your decisions, your actions, and even your emotions. The morning is your most powerful moment, not because of the coffee, not because of the routine, but because your mind is open, unshaped, and waiting to be programmed. And if you don't program it with intention, the world will program it with distraction. Take 5 minutes. Just 5. Sit in silence. Breathe. Ask yourself, what matters most today? What do I need to release? What do I want to attract? And most importantly, who do I need to become today to fulfill what's ahead of me? That alignment, that stillness, that focus, it sets your tone. It governs your choices. It protects your peace. And when your mind is aligned, your steps become strategic. You're not just moving, you're moving with purpose. Without alignment, you'll spend your day reacting to everything. Emails, texts, people's moods, the news, the pressure. But with alignment, you respond with clarity. You show up with intention. You stay rooted in what truly matters. So before the rush begins, before the demands start pulling at you, choose to align. Your morning determines your momentum, and your momentum shapes your outcome. But even when you align, there's still something you'll have to confront. Something that keeps tugging at your peace, whispering doubt, and stirring uncertainty. That something is the need to know everything. Are you ready to release that too? There's a subtle pressure we carry every day, the pressure to figure it all out, to have all the answers, to understand every detail, to predict every outcome before we even take the first step. But what if that very pressure is what's holding you back? The need to know everything. It sounds wise. It feels responsible. But in reality, it's a trap that keeps your mind spinning, your spirit anxious, and your momentum stuck. Because when you demand full clarity before you move, you never move. Some of the greatest doors in your life will open, not because you understood everything, but because you trusted the next step. Letting go of the need to know everything isn't ignorance, it's intelligent surrender. It's saying, I don't have to know how it all ends. I just need to be faithful to what I know now. You don't need a 5-year plan to take a 5-second step. You don't need every detail to make a decision. What you need is peace. And peace doesn't come from perfect knowledge. It comes from purposeful movement. Ask yourself this: is your obsession with knowing protecting you or paralyzing you? Are you waiting for certainty that will never come while opportunities pass you by? Some of the most powerful moments in your life will begin with mystery. You won't have all the facts. You won't feel completely ready. And you won't always see the full picture. But you'll feel something, a pull, a prompting, a whisper that says, go. And that's where courage steps in. That's where peace becomes your guide. Not because everything makes sense, but because something inside says, even if I don't know it all, I know enough to move forward. When you let go of the need to know everything, you free yourself from overthinking. You give yourself permission to explore, to grow, to trust the unfolding of the journey. Clarity is powerful, yes, but it's not always instant. Sometimes clarity comes after obedience, after the move, after the step, and when it does, you'll look back and realize you didn't need all the answers. You just needed enough faith to begin. So today, release the pressure. Let go of the fear that says, what if it doesn't work? And embrace the wisdom that says, what if it does? Let go of needing to know and step into the power of believing. Because when you stop chasing control, you start walking in confidence. But even as you release the need to know, as you take steps with limited vision, you'll face another question. Who's really guiding those steps? That's when it's time to explore trusting the invisible hand in your daily walk. Every day we make decisions, big ones, small ones, and everything in between. And yet in the background of all that movement, there's a quiet question that echoes through our hearts. Am I on the right path? We want proof. We want signs. We want guarantees. But real peace doesn't come from proof. It comes from presence. It comes from knowing that even when we can't see the hand guiding us, it's still there, still leading, still working behind the scenes. Trust is not built on visibility. It's built on relationship. You don't need to see every step to keep walking. You don't need to see the entire plan to stay in motion. What you need is the confidence that you're not walking alone. The invisible hand isn't always loud. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's a gentle nudge, a quiet knowing, a moment of peace when everything around you feels chaotic. And when you learn to recognize that, when you learn to trust it, your entire approach to life begins to shift. You stop rushing. You stop forcing. You stop panicking when things don't go the way you planned, because deep down you understand, just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's inactive. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life will come after the greatest silence, when nothing makes sense, when it feels like nothing is happening, but something is happening. Foundations are being built, doors are being aligned, connections are being made. You're not being ignored, you're being prepared. So how do you trust the invisible hand? You let go of the need to have all the answers. You release your obsession with speed, and you choose every morning to say, even if I can't see it, I believe it's working. You focus on the step in front of you, not the staircase. You give your energy to what's in your hands today, not what you wish you had tomorrow. And you rest in the truth that the path may not be predictable, but it is purposeful. There is a rhythm, a timing, a divine choreography at play, even in your delays, even in your disappointments. And when you trust that, you walk with peace, you speak with clarity, you move with authority, not because you know everything, but because you know you're being guided. So today, release the need for constant signs. Trust the invisible, trust the process, trust the preparation. Because when you learn to walk by faith and direction, not just sight of results, your steps begin to echo with purpose. But even with trust, even with surrender, there's one thing you still must confront every morning: the weight you carry from the day before. And that's when we must talk about moving from burdened to blessed. Every morning, you have a decision to make. Will you carry yesterday, or will you start fresh? It sounds simple, but for so many, that decision becomes a quiet war. A war between what was and what can. We wake up heavy, not because the day has already gone wrong, but because we never let go of the last one. We carry the conversation that hurt us, the failure that embarrassed us, the worry that drained us, and without even realizing it, we walk into a brand new morning with old broken weight. But here's the truth: you can't carry burdens and expect blessings to flow. One will always block the other. You weren't designed to be burdened, you were designed to be blessed. But blessing requires space, it requires room, and to make that room, you've got to release what's behind you. What if this morning is calling you into a new beginning, and the only thing in your way is your refusal to put the past down? Let me tell you something powerful. Just because it happened doesn't mean it has to continue happening in your mind. Just because you fell doesn't mean you're not worthy of rising. Just because yesterday was painful doesn't mean today has to pay for it. You've got to give yourself permission to reset, to say that was then, this is. You may not forget the experience, but you can decide it won't rule your mindset. You may still remember the mistake, but you don't have to rehearse the guilt. A fresh morning is like a cleared canvas, but it's up to you whether you'll paint it with new colors or keep smearing old stains across its surface. You are not the same version of yourself that lived through yesterday. You're wiser, you're more aware, you've seen more, felt more, learned more, and that means you're ready for more. But you can't embrace more if your arms are still full of what you should have released. When you choose to start fresh, you invite blessing to follow you. You create a flow of peace, a momentum of favor, a shift in your outlook. You start to expect good things, and what you expect, you attract. So today, don't drag the weight, drop it. Don't repeat the fear, replace it. Don't relive the regret, release it. Speak over your morning with intention. I am not burdened. I am blessed. I am not stuck. I am stepping forward. I am not who I was. I am who I'm becoming. You have the power to decide how this day begins. Don't let yesterday's pain rob you of today's potential. But as you embrace that blessing, as you walk into your new morning with freedom and favor, there's something else you'll need to grasp. The grace of starting again, every single day. There's something powerful about a sunrise. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't apologize for the darkness that came before it. It just rises, bold, bright, consistent, and with every sunrise comes a message. You can begin again. You don't need a new year, a new month, or a new chapter. All you need is a new morning. And guess what? You got one right now. Too often, we disqualify ourselves. We say, I messed up yesterday, or I didn't get it right the last time, or it's too late for me now. But none of that disqualifies you unless you choose to carry it forward. Every single morning, you are given grace to start over. A blank page, a fresh rhythm, a chance to breathe again. It doesn't matter how far you drifted. It doesn't matter what you forgot, what you failed at, or what you lost. What matters is your next decision. What matters is your next move. And every morning, you get the gift of both. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. This isn't about doing it all right, it's about doing the next right thing. It's about waking up and saying, today I will not let my past dictate my posture. Today I will rise like the morning light, new, bold, and full of promise. Some people are stuck not because they can't move forward, but because they've never given themselves permission to start again. They think the grace has expired. They think the chance has passed. But let me tell you, the chance is now. You don't have to restart your life. Just restart your focus. Restart your attitude. Restart your willingness. Restart your faith in the process. There is no shame in starting again. In fact, there's power in it. It means you've grown. It means you've learned. It means you're ready to re-enter the race with more strength, more clarity, and more courage than before. So breathe deep. Let yesterday be yesterday. Don't carry its mistakes. Don't rehearse its weight. Step into this day with open hands and a willing heart. Start again and watch how much smoother things begin to flow when you stop fighting your past and start trusting your present. Because every day you're alive is a day to rebuild, to reset, to refocus, and to remember you're not behind, you're becoming. But once you embrace this grace, once you rise with renewed purpose, there's one more thing you must do. Something that shifts your whole atmosphere. Speak over your day with authority and watch it obey. Every morning, before your feet touch the ground, your mouth is already building something. Whether you realize it or not, you're either declaring victory or inviting defeat. You're either commanding your day or giving it permission to command you. Words are not just sounds, they are assignments. They travel ahead of you. They influence your attitude. They set the tone of your home, your workplace, your relationships. So let me ask you, what are you speaking when you wake up? I'm tired. This day's gonna be hot. Nothing's working for me. If that's what's coming out of your mouth, don't be surprised when your day matches it. But when you wake up and speak with intention, when you say, this is the day for peace, this is the day I take back my focus, this is the day I move with clarity and boldness, you don't just say it, you shape it. You've got to understand, your words are not passive. They are powerful. They are creative. They are instruments of transformation. What you declare, you empower. What you name, you claim. So speak like someone who knows the day has ears, because it does. Speak strength, even when you feel weak. Speak peace, even when the storm is loud. Speak favor, even when circumstances look unfair. Why? Because your environment may not shift immediately, and when you shift, everything else begins to realign. You can't afford to let your day start on autopilot. You have to take authority over it, with your voice, with your tone, with your truth. You say, I command this day to come into order. I call in the right people. I call in the right opportunities. I call in clarity, focus, energy, and breakthrough. Don't whisper your way into destiny. Speak with authority. Speak with boldness. Speak like someone who knows the power of a single spoken sentence. Every morning, you're not just waking up, you're activating your day. Your words are the ignition, and the way you start often determines how you finish. So speak early, speak intentionally, speak with purpose, because you are not at the mercy of the day is at the mercy of your voice. But after you speak it, after you declare it, there's one more thing that will unlock peace, focus, and inner strength like nothing else. You must pause and enter into morning stillness. Before the notifications start buzzing, before the demands come knocking, before the world begins to pull at you from every direction, there is a moment, a window, a sacred space that exists between your rising and your reacting. That space is stillness, and in that stillness, something happens. You hear things you'd miss in the noise. You feel things you'd normally ignore. You remember who you are before the pressure tells you who to be. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is strategy. Because when your soul is quiet, your mind becomes clear, and clarity, that's where true power lives. Most people run into their day like a fire drill, rushing, reacting, reaching. But when you start your morning grounded in stillness, you shift from chaos to control. You begin to respond instead of just reacting. You begin to lead your day instead of just surviving it. Stillness is where your peace is. It's where your wisdom wakes up. It's where your intuition gets louder than your insecurity. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be still long enough to hear what your heart has been trying to say. Take a breath, not just to relax but to realign. Sit in silence, not just to escape, but to receive. This world moves fast, but your strength is not in speed, it's in awareness. And awareness is born in quiet places. If you want to walk through the day with peace, you must begin the day in presence. If you want to think clearly, you must begin with stillness. You can't draw from an empty well, and you can't give clarity if your own mind is clouded. So take a few moments, every morning, before the rush, before the tasks, before the distractions. Sit still, listen inward, breathe deeply. Remind yourself, I don't have to do it all at once. I just have to do it with intention. Stillness is where you regain your power. It's where your vision clears. It's where your spirit strengthens. It's not the absence of activity, it's the alignment of energy. It's not about doing nothing, it's about doing the right thing. When you give yourself to stillness, the day begins to follow your rhythm, not the other way around. You move differently. You speak with more weight. You decide with more confidence. And you walk through the day with the kind of quiet power that doesn't shout, but still gets results. But stillness, as powerful as it is, leads to something even more personal, something even more transformative. A moment of honest, intentional, morning conversation with the one who sees what you can. The day is still fresh, the world is still quiet, and now it's time for the most important conversation you'll have, the one with your own soul. Too often we jump straight into the busyness, the to-do list, the expectations of others. But what about the most important conversation of all? The conversation where you check in with yourself, and with the force that created you. When was the last time you paused, not for a task, but for truth, not for a plan, but for perspective? The morning is not just about rushing through your routine, it's about aligning with your deeper purpose, your inner strength. It's a moment to recalibrate, to ask, what am I really here for today? What do I need to release? What do I need to receive? It's a moment to connect with the part of you that holds the vision for your life, and to affirm it before the noise of the day distracts you. A conversation in the morning is not a one-sided monologue. It's a dialogue. It's listening as much as it is speaking. It's asking the right questions. What am I grateful for today? What am I willing to let go of? What do I need to focus on? And it's about hearing the quiet voice that whispers the answers, the voice that often gets drowned out by the chaos of the world. This conversation is not about solving everything right now. It's about setting an intention for the day. It's about speaking life into the spaces where doubt might try to creep in. It's about saying, I am prepared for what lies ahead, and I know I am guided. I am equipped for the challenges of today, and I will meet them with strength and clarity. It's in these moments that you anchor yourself in your purpose. You remind yourself that you are not just reacting to life, you are leading. And as you speak into your day, as you breathe in the peace that comes with intentionality, you create space for the best version of yourself to rise. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've already decided that this day will be lived with power, presence, and purpose. You don't need to have it all figured out in the morning, but you do need to affirm that today is yours to shape. And when you do that, you step into the day with a sense of ownership, of calm authority. You walk with the knowledge that whatever comes your way, you are prepared. You've already spoken victory into existence. You've already declared that you are more than capable of handling whatever unfolds. As you finish that conversation, as you rise from your stillness with clarity and intention, there's a final reminder to take with you into the day. You are not a passive observer in your life. You are an active participant in its creation. And with that, you walk forward not just through the day, but into your destiny.